Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for yet another video on time management. So we're going to call this Time Management 2022. And you may wonder, why do I keep doing a new video every year? Well, because my schedule keeps changing every year, because something new always gets added, or I take other things away to make things work. And so I wanted to give an update, not just on what I'm doing, but also to help you figure out how best to manage your time to be able to fit in all the things that you're wanting to get done. And obviously this is also going to depend on your physical abilities as well. So I know that we got to take that into account. So if you're in a wheelchair or you just can't move very fast, just try to take some of the tips that I'm giving out and find a way to make some of these ideas work for you accordingly. So the first thing is obviously prioritizing. And you may have to do this every single day. I do every day. Prioritize what's the most important thing for you to get done that day. And you might even need to make up a list. I don't do this every day, but sometimes I do when I know there's things I really must get done and they are the utmost important, that I don't put it off even a day or another day if I've already been putting it off. And so those things are going to go at the top of the list. Those are the things I have to get done first. And then organize your days, organize your weeks, even organize your months according to what needs to be done and how often these things need to be done. So for example, I've always had sheet washing day. I had a specific day of the week that I've always washed sheets. Now that's changed through the years. It used to always be Friday. Now it's always on Sunday. If we have a certain day of the week that we know that's what we're going to do, we just get it done. So first thing that happens, you get out of bed, you strip off the sheets because it's Sunday, put them in the wash, put on some new sheets. And that way it's done and out of the way and you don't have to worry about it. So if you have where those once a week kind of jobs, if you have those kind of jobs and it's where you have a specific day of the week, even the bathrooms, a specific day of the week that you do a good clean of the toilets, the tub, the sink. And it doesn't mean you can't do some cleanup in between to keep things tidy, but I'm talking about the more deep cleaning. But even with all that in mind, I need to throw this in there, is that you also need to learn how to be flexible, because anything can happen that can throw all that stuff out of whack. You may have to put off the sheets or the bathroom another day, or something's coming up, get it done a day ahead of time instead. So learn how to be flexible as well. It helps to have a good solid schedule, but you also have to plan ahead and think, okay, well, what if something happens and somebody needs help, somebody's car breaks down, they need you to run pick them up, whatever it is. And you got to kind of plan for these possibilities, because they happen all the time. There's always something like that. Or the kids need to drop their babies off because something came up for them and they need someone to watch the babies. I'm here, I can do it. If I had something else planned, I can either work around it and do it a different time during the day or a different day in the week. So yes, thinking about the different tasks that you have to get done, pick the days that are best for those tasks accordingly. The reason I used to always wash the sheets on a Friday was in case we had company come over the weekend and we were going to let them stay in our bed, then I knew that they had fresh sheets and they were already ready to go. Things like that. We don't do that anymore because now we have a guest room, so they can stay in the guest room that always has clean sheets on it. So when you pick that certain day of the week, it's not even just about to help you remember, it's also to plan it around, okay, what would be the best day of the week to get that done? It's also got to fit into the other days of the week and things that you need to get done on those days. So that's why it's good to have a set schedule. But again, learn to be flexible with it too, as you never know what each week's going to throw at you. And then learning to multitask. Well, some people say no one really actually multitasks, but you can. There's things that you can do at the same time. So here's some examples that I do. I mean, if you're one that likes to watch/listen to YouTube videos or podcasts, or even because you never have time to read books anymore, have reverted to going with audiobooks. Well, instead of sitting and listening to this stuff, you can listen while you're doing stuff. Now, sometimes you might still have to back things up because you made a noise here, you missed that, you had to walk out of the room, whatever it is. But it's easy. You just back it up and you can still listen. I mean, I've really been enjoying listening to audiobooks because I used to love to read, and I still do. I just don't have the time anymore to sit and read a book. I just can't do it. But I can listen to recorded books while I'm getting stuff done. It also makes that task just go by a lot nicer because you're listening to something while you're doing something that's just pretty much muscle memory that you don't have to think too hard about. And then the other thing I do is I'll exercise while I'm doing certain types of chores, such as folding laundry. I can do my squats while I'm folding laundry. And while I'm washing dishes, that's something I can do. Leg lifts while I'm washing dishes. And so a lot of times I can be getting 3 things done at once if I'm listening to either something on YouTube that something educational that I'm trying to learn from, or I'm listening to the Bible or one of my favorite pastors, or I'm listening to a book. Then I could be exercising and getting a job done at the same time. The washing the dishes, the folding the clothes, the cutting up, the preparing food for canning, dehydrating, or just for making dinner. A lot of these things I can do all at the same time. And yes, I can do leg lifts while preparing food. I just try to be careful exactly what I'm doing. If I'm working with a sharp knife and I'm trying to move fast, I might not do the leg lifts when I'm doing that. So obviously you got to use a little common sense, because a lot of people ask, well, how do you do all this stuff in a day? Well, for one, I've always been an active person, always doing stuff all the time. I'm not one that's good at just sitting still. I always have to be doing something anyway. So your personality could play a part in that as well, but it might be that you'll need to learn to be a little more active and moving, or learning how to work things around better and just to get things done. Because if it's important enough to you, it's just like finances. If it's important enough to you to get out of debt, you'll learn to cut back on the luxuries in life that you really don't need in order to get out of debt. So if one of your favorite luxuries is going out to eat 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Yes, some people go out to eat every single day. That kind of shocked me. I don't know how people can afford that. Or paying $5, $6, $7, even up to $9 at the coffee stand. Well, these are things that you can cut out and do at home and save you money. The same principle applies to time. So are you doing things like a lot of you who might still have Facebook, it's so easy. I went back to Facebook, but you can go in there to try to get something done because there's specific reasons why I have Facebook. While you're in there checking your messages from your family and going to your Facebook page and trying to manage things there, and then something catches your eye, and then next thing you know, you're scrolling. You got to learn not to do that. You got to learn to catch yourself and say, oh, there's that time sucker. It's pulling me into its vortex, and turn it off and then go get the things done. Just get done on your social media sites if you have to have them like I do. Learn to get done what you need to get done on there, and don't just use it as a pastime. And then turn it off and then work on those important things. If you have time later and you're just relaxing, sure, there's a fine time where you can just kind of scroll through and see what your family and friends are doing. Though some of that stuff can also be toxic. So you got to be careful with that because it can stress you out, and you don't need that. You'd be probably better off listening to, doing something that you can learn from, like listening to some YouTube videos from different creators that are putting out educational content, listening to your favorite pastors like I like to do, or just listening to a book that you enjoy. And that would be better. Just getting sucked into Facebook. One of my previous time management videos was back when I was doing all my editing on the laptop, and I would try to reserve the editing time for while I was making skirts. It was a lot of back and forth. It made the skirt sewing and the editing each a little bit longer, but combined together, I shortened both tasks. And that was okay for a time until it got too hard for me to look at the screen so close, and wearing reading glasses all the time gave me a headache, and it made my eyes worse. So I had to change all that up. So now what I do is I have 2 days of the week that I dedicate to shooting videos, and that is Sundays, which is today when I'm shooting this, and Thursdays. And sometimes if I'm able, I might have days where I can squeeze in another video shooting, but usually what I try to do, 2 to 3 videos each of those 2 days. And then I use the 3 days a week that the babies are here to do my video editing, because I like to, as you know, I'll link you back to the video where Patrick made me some shelves and stuff for in the living room, and where my little office is, which is on the floor. Because that's how I like to do things. I'm kind of crazy that way, but it works out good because I'm down there on the floor with the babies too. So it works out perfect. And so that's when I can do my video editing. And yes, oftentimes I have to set things aside to go take care of, give so-and-so their bottle or go change so-and-so's diaper or whatever it is. And that's fine as a part of it, but it works. It's something I can do. And we've learned to work with this. And sometimes I have to, hold my keyboard in a funny way because I got one grandbaby wanting to sit on my lap. It's all fine. I learn how to work around it. So that's how I do things now as far as the videos go. And I'll also use that time to catch up on YouTube comments and emails as they're coming in. I try to hit those several times a day so I don't feel swamped by them all at once. But that's going to be up to you too. It used to be I would just do my YouTube video comments in the morning and then not come back to them until the next morning because then I could just get it done. But now things have kind of changed and I have different things I have to do in the morning to get that taken care of first, especially on the days that the grandbabies are going to be here. There's certain things I try to get all done and out of the way before they arrive. Letting the chickens out. If it's the time of year that I need to be watering the garden, I try to get that done really, really early in the morning so it's taken care of. And just things like that. So it's learning how to schedule and plan around the various things. And sometimes it can take a lot of sitting down and thinking, okay, how can I work this out? Sometimes you think something's going to work good and then you find out, I can't really do this, not really working. And so you just got to start over and just find another way to do it. Also, while I'm sewing, because now I'm getting back into the skirt making, as some of you probably know by now. I'm not going to say I'm pumping out a lot all the time or will always be doing it, but while I'm doing my sewing, that's another time that I'm listening to sermons or my audiobooks or whatever it is. And so again, it's another task I can be getting done while I'm listening to something. Though sometimes I do just like quiet. And I can also use that as my prayer time. I can pray while I'm sewing because it's something I know what I'm doing. It's just kind of it's sort of a monotonous muscle memory task I can do. And I can have that be my prayer time. Now, usually when I have like heavy duty food preparation or preservation tasks to do, like making and canning up some chili and anything like that, I save those for the weekends. And when the babies aren't here, because I really don't feel comfortable yet since I do my canning outside on the deck and Jackson's running around, I don't yet feel comfortable with that. I'm afraid he's going to go over there and touch it, fall into it or something. And so I save that kind of stuff for the weekends. And plus I usually have more time for those kind of tasks. So weekends are the times where I'm really working on skirts, I'm making skin cream, I'm canning up. And if I've got a lot of stuff I need to harvest and start dehydrating up, I'll do that then. Usually dehydrating can happen all week long, but if it's a bigger task where I've got to go harvest it, prepare it, such as getting the tomatoes, processing them up and putting them in the dehydrator, I might do that on the weekend, or that might be something I'll get done early in the morning, get it in the dehydrator, and then I can forget about it while the grandbabies are here. And then other things that I'll do on those weekends, when I say weekends, I'm talking like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is that on those days, I usually try to prepare 3 different meals, either meals that I can easily turn into something else. Let's say one of those days I make a roast, then the next day I can take that roast and do something else with and make like a casserole or or if it's a baked chicken or something. And I'll make enough of that for the next 3 or even 4 days. If I do it on Thursday, then I'll have enough to get me through the next 3 days while I'm watching the baby, so I don't have to worry about being distracted and having to make dinner while they're here. And it just makes it easier, though there are some meals I can easily prepare when the babies are here. So anyway, that's my video on time management, and I know I'm forgetting some ideas, but please put your thoughts and ideas down below. What are some things that you do, shortcuts you take to make things fit into your very busy schedule so that you can get all the things done you need to get done? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.